OpenAI have a strict set of policies to make sure that their AIs aren't being used for anything illegal or immoral. In this particular example, I'm checking a slightly violent prompt to see what the API thinks of it, and it's getting flagged as violent. Hi, my name is Bryson. Today we're going to have a look at the Moderations API, both on the command line and in Go. First, we'll go through a quick rundown of how OpenAI's APIs work. Next, we'll get to know the Moderations API from the command line. And finally, we're going to use the Moderations API in Go so that we can use it programmatically. So OpenAI's APIs are made of stateless HTTP requests. You basically send a request and then get a JSON response back. To use these APIs, you need to provide an authentication token. To get this, create a login at openai.com, and from here you can generate a token under your user profile. It's important to know that these APIs aren't free, but when you sign up, you will get some trial credit. So in the terminal, I'm going to export the OpenAI key that we generated before. And now we're going to call the API with curl https:/api.openai.com/v1/moderations. Then we need to provide some headers. So I'm going to go with -h content type application/JSON, and then another header for authorization bearer OpenAI key environment variable that we just defined. And then we can provide the body with a JSON object, and the field input basically takes the input that we want to moderate. And I'm going to say an evil magician determined to turn everyone into dinosaurs. And that's the only field that we need in our body, so we can close that off. And I'm going to pipe the outcome into Python JSON.tool, which just displays the JSON nicely in the terminal. So we can see the results of our input is getting flagged as slightly violent, but nothing that OpenAI would usually be worried about. So now we're going to write a Go program, which basically will score some user input based on OpenAI's moderations. So I'm going to go with go mod init to initialize the project, and then I'm going to create a main.go file and give it the package name main and create a main function. Inside here, I'm going to define a client as an OpenAI.newClient, and we need to pass in our API token. So I'm going to go with os-get-env and grab our environment variable OpenAI_key. I'm going to save here and jump back into the terminal and call go mod tidy because I want to import the OpenAI package into the project. And now I'm going to call the Moderations API. So I do that by going response error equals client moderations. And moderations takes a context, but in this case, I don't want to cancel this call, so I'm just going to go context.background, and then it also takes a moderation request. So inside this request, I'm going to set the input, so I'm going to go strings.join, and then I'm going to pass in os.args and grab all the arguments after the first one, and then I'm going to separate them all with a space. Next, I'll handle the error with if error does not equal nil, then we're going to panic with that error. And now I want to display the response to the terminals with b error is equal to json.marshall_indent, and I'm going to pass the response body into here, leave the prefix empty, and then pass in a tab character for the indentation. Again, I'm going to say if the error does not equal nil, then we're going to panic with that error. And finally, I'm going to go format print line, and I'm going to pass in those JSON bytes as a string. So if we save this and jump back into the command line, we can now call this with any string that we want to check against OpenAI's moderations. For example, I'm going to call go run, and I'm going to pass in a ghost who wants revenge. It's slightly hateful and slightly violent. But if we change this to a ghost who wants bloody revenge, we can see that the violence score spiked up a little bit more there. There's going to be no end of inappropriate requests that people send to AI tools. Moderations gives us one way of checking what those requests are and whether or not we should accept them. I've been Bryson, happy moderating, and I'll see you later.